It's getting hot. Forget the heat wave. The quarterfinals are here. And you know who you gotta fear? The French Reaper, the Creeper, the run past you and demolish your keeper, the one who'll send you deeper into the abyss. Penalties? No, he don't miss. It's Kylian Mbappe, the dictator. He's gonna break through you and dictate you. France versus Morocco, it's gonna get hot. Messi, where you at? You thought?
Oh, damn. I like the this breathing, but that could have gone in multiple directions. I'm gonna follow that up. Pain is what I don't feel, hurtling through the air over the green fields, kicked by some powerful feet. Goalkeeper dive in, the fingers don't meet, and I sink in the back of the net. Somewhere in the world, someone's won a bet. I'm a football. We can play in the streets, but it's the World Cup, so just watch from your seat. The goats on the grass are playing way too fast. Tiki taka through pass, and then a kick blast. Only 2 weeks more of this masterclass.
Damn! God damn, Drake would be jealous of that one.
Oi, happy pakdo.
Alright, so if you haven't guessed, Neelish and I have been World Cup obsessed. Right?
World Cup fever.
World Cup fever is here and it's more contagious than COVID, some would say.
It's hotter than the heat wave, some might say.
So where are we at? Okay, it's we're in the round of 32. Wait,
yeah, just heading into the round of 16.
Yeah, and we watched today was France versus Morocco, and I'm sorry, Neelish, your boys. No, France versus Paraguay.
Yeah, and Canada had a epic match against the Moroccans, and the last African country just decided to show up and kick them out. And you know what? Well fought. And we got a couple players on the bench. Why do I sound like a commentator after? This is what happens to me. Every 4 years, the World Cup comes around. I get all pumped up about it, right? And I start watching all these videos. My algorithm is flooded with a bunch of AI nonsense. Tell me more about this stuff. I know you've been watching it.
I am loving it. I am loving all the anime AI versions of these football teams. That has been the highlight of the World Cup for me, right? They're making them all into some Captain Tsubasa, Hungry Heart type anime, and boy, am I here for it.
Yeah, it's like the confluence of things that people in our age group care about, which is football and then anime as well. So it feels like they're just putting everything together, and I think the players are loving it. Everyone's loving it. It's just getting everyone all hyped up.
That's the fun part. I think the players are now like of the generation where they're getting in with the memes, and
yeah.
I'm loving the Kylian Mbappe dictator memes. I think that's the best thing to come out of the World Cup.
I'm happily surprised that some of these younger players who, and I started off this World Cup going, this is going to be probably the last one I watch because it's got some of the goats in it, but the goats are being put out to pasture, right? After this.
The goats go to the pasture?
I don't know where they go. They end up on a plate, right? As a shish kebab. But some of these guys are standing out, you know, like some of these young guys on the field. So I mean, I say young, they're our age, but it's pretty cool to see.
No, they're young. These guys who are like actually dictating.
They're like pretty young, right? So it's good. So we'll see them for a couple of more World Cups. I still don't know how invested I'll be once, you know, the Messis of the world are retired. But hey, you know, so I had a bit of a extra experience with the World Cup because I got to go and see one of the games.
Oh yeah, right? Which one?
As we discussed on the last World Cup related episode we did, I went for the Egypt-New Zealand match, and you and I had a bet going on, and I was so excited going into this match for multiple reasons. One, because it had one of the only players that I knew the name of, which was Mo Salah. But then two, because I knew we're going to wipe that smug grin off your Kiwi face. Your barely brown Kiwi face.
Man, when I went to the pub, like fully pumped up to watch New Zealand win, and they got demolished.
Hammered. Yeah, but it was really cool being in the stadium. So I just took a gamble and went, let me just put myself as a fan of countries that I felt wouldn't have that many fans at the location. So I did Egypt as one of them. I applied to multiple. I only got tickets for the Egypt game. And so that meant me and my partner had to sit in the Egypt's side, right?
What was that like?
Yeah, it was fun until they start. So in the beginning, we went early and we were sitting down and just kind of enjoying it. And then everyone, all the fans started coming in, and I saw a bunch of white guys wearing pharaoh outfits, and that made me uncomfortable.
Feels like a microaggression.
I know, or a macroaggression. But anyway, so they were all sat around us. I mean, all these Egyptian supporters, and then they started chanting in Arabic and stuff, and that's when I felt like, I mean, I kind of wanted to join. It sounded awesome. I wanted to join, but I couldn't. So then me and the wife were sitting there, like, looking at each other. And then one time, like, sort of midway through the game, this guy who was sitting next to us actually looked over at me and went, "Are you guys from New Zealand?" Like, because, like a genius. So I knew that one of Egypt's kits was white, right? But I think their main one is red. So everyone on this side was wearing red. But I had bought a white shirt.
What an idiot. They're called the All Whites. New Zealand team is called the All Whites.
I thought they were black.
That's the rugby team.
Why can't they keep it consistent? So I got the white shirt, and then I had a black hat on.
Oh my God.
And so both things looked like New Zealand, right? But I specifically had gotten, they were generic. They didn't have any country name on it. They were just FIFA branded stuff. But so the guy was like, "Are you from New Zealand?" I said, "No." I said, "I'm from here."
Well, you could have passed off as Egyptian. I'm sorry. I don't think your wife probably would have.
Definitely not.
So,
but I tried, but it didn't work. And I didn't know any of the chants, so I couldn't participate. So it was just there, like, just
in spirit.
Yeah, silently cheering on. But they did well. And
did you make any Egyptian friends?
That's the thing, right? Because I just felt like they were looking at me like, "Who is this infiltrator?" So, you know what? Fair enough. They had a great game. I had a good time sitting on their side, and they won. So, as a result, you had to do a punishment or challenge. Why don't you tell us about it?
I struggled with this one. Well, I don't know what to do, right? Because if New Zealand won, you were going to do like a haka, which is pretty like standard. You told me I have to do something Egyptian. Now that's vague. Right? I don't want to offend the Egyptian people.
Right.
So I decided to do the Mo Salah chant. Apparently there is
now
one.
you know Mo Salah, and you've been following his antics for a while.
Well, I don't know him personally, but okay.
Okay, but I mean, you've seen his games around Europe and whatnot.
I'll tell you what, I struggled with this. I put up something on TikTok and I put up something on Instagram. Both are different. So
I didn't even know that. Interesting.
Take your pick, watch it, tell me.
Yeah, I have not reacted to either of these things, so I'm going to be watching it now, and we're going to see what I think about it. So here we go. So I'm starting off with the Instagram post. Let's look it up. Okay. Does it have volume? I guess it does, right? Okay, here we go.
Okay, New Zealand lost. So, Egypt, I've got my money on you to win the World Cup. Go on and beat Australia next. Yalla Masar!
It's bad, dude.
It's so bad.
It's terrible.
I should probably remove it off there.
I could leave it up, but I couldn't feel any energy in there, and I think it looks like one of those hostage videos. So that's good though, because that's exactly the sentiment that was there behind it.
Well, Egypt's an African team too. You said Morocco's the last African team. Egypt's African.
Oh, you're right. No,
Yeah.
I didn't even count them because they're going against Argentina. So.
Well, they knocked out both the boys from Oceania. They knocked out New Zealand and then Australia.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm not a big fan of Egypt right now. Let's say that.
Clearly, we can see that.
But the funny part is this post outperformed most of our other posts.
That's how we do it. All right. Well, so that was a successful, well, I don't know about successful, but that was a completed challenge. So good job, Arnav. Thank you for following through on that. And yeah, at the end, I'll say great vibes at a World Cup game. Good energy. I feel like a little bit re-motivated about football. I feel like once this World Cup ends for the next 4 years, we're going to have some interest still kick up from from at least from this North American side, people seem to have been quite excited by the fact that all the host teams managed to kind of get ahead.
You know what? I think America's gonna get like pumped after this, and they're gonna try to infiltrate cricket. I think that's the next move from America. They're gonna host the next Cricket World Cup.
Well, we'll give them that as long as we can get a team in the FIFA World Cup. How about that?
Yeah, that's a good shout. Because it'll be fun if there's a Cricket World Cup, because that means all the South Asians are gonna be there, right?
There is a Cricket World Cup. What are you talking about?
No, but I mean, if America hosts it, it'll be quite interesting.
The visa situation alone is going to be a nightmare. But although we have probably enough Indians in America to make our own cricket team from there.
That's true. Actually, the whole American cricket team is Indian.
Are they?
Yeah.
Wait, they even have a team?
They have a team, but it's like primarily Indian.
Wow.
So it's just brown on brown violence.
Okay, so let me ask you about the World Cup. When do you think we'll ever get to see India be a part of this magical tournament?
Never.
Why? Give us some reasons. Give the audience doesn't know why India's terrible at.
I don't think we have the backing of the country. All the money goes into cricket, right? So everyone's trying to establish cricket, and there's no actual proper development going into football in India, which is sad.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you and I were very interested in football growing up. We were the right age to get involved in the sport, right? There wasn't really anything we could do. We did like 1 or 2 camps, and then we joined this academy, right? Where we were.
What the fuck was that? Wait,
we were playing on a dirt road, basically.
We got abused, and we had to like. Do you remember we had to like move a steamroller across the whole pitch?
Yeah, we had to pack the pitch that we played on, and it was just a dirt, like it was just a sand pitch.
It's just child labor.
And I remember it used to get so hot, right, that the whole pitch would heat up, and my vision would go orange. I thought I had like some kind of a superpower. I'm like, oh, it's my X-ray vision kicking in, or my sepia vision, or something. But it was actually just almost heat stroke.
Yeah,
I probably should have died a couple times.
Well, speaking of heat, what's happening? You tell us. You're in one of the heat zones of the world, aren't you?
Am I? I don't think I am. I mean, they say that it's getting hot in the US right now, and that some of the games are difficult because of that, but it hasn't been too bad here. I think on the other side of Canada, it's gotten a bit hotter than it has here. But then certainly Europe is feeling the burn.
Damn, they're feeling the heat of the gods.
Yeah, that's right. Now, this has happened a few times before in history, where I remember when I was in London, there would be these sort of heat waves, and it would be 31 degrees, and people would be dying and whatnot, and I'd be like, 31, like India had that 5 years ago, right? We're at 36 now. And now it's like the other way. It's like they hit 40 and we're at 45. And there's still some people who say global warming isn't a thing. It's crazy.
Is it not a thing? Global warming's not real, guys. Don't believe Neelish.
I don't agree with that. So let's talk about heat. This is something we want to talk about. So we grew up in India. First of all, how do you feel about heat? What's your relationship with it? Get in there.
My relationship with heat.
That's right.
It's hot. That's a hot relationship. Steamy, some might say.
Okay, all right. Give us more.
I can't eat spicy food, so when it comes to like heat in that measure, I'm unable to like.
Have you heard this thing where if you're from a hot, like people in hot countries like to eat spicy food because it makes them sweat and somehow that cools them down?
Well, sweating does cool you down.
Yeah, so apparently that's a thing.
Oh. Well, it doesn't work for me. I don't sweat.
So, yeah, like growing up, right? Did you ever feel it was too hot? Or like, what did you...
I think we got acclimatized to it, right? Like we were playing in the middle of the field in Chennai sun.
Yeah.
With no shade around at like 12 p.m. in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it's just hot. It's like, 38 degrees, 39 degrees sometimes. And I think it didn't really hit us. We would just play... Go back. We didn't even wear sunscreen in India.
We definitely didn't. Yeah, we didn't learn about the sunscreen. That was tragic. There was a couple of things we did. We used to buy these. We had, I think it was like 1 rupee water packets, and we used to sort of bite off a corner and spray it at each other. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
We also used to get these little orange ice lollipops that I remember was the summer move for me. I remember with my family, we'd go to whatever the supermarket and get like a crate of those. They'd be in the freezer. And every time I go back from school, I'd be popping them popsicles.
Slurping it up.
That's right.
I remember we'd go to the beach and they'd have those cars. We'd get like those 5 rupee orange sticks or grape sticks. And those would just hit different, honestly.
That's it. What else did we do to actively manage the summer? I feel like we had air conditioning pretty much everywhere, right?
True. Yeah.
Cars. So you basically start off the morning from an air-conditioned house. You get into an air-conditioned car. The schools didn't have air.
Yeah, and that was a major flaw because like all of us would come back, not me because I don't sweat, but all the others would come back sweaty and stinky.
Stanky.
And we'd have like these overhead fans that we'd try to like sit under and cool off a little bit.
So I'll tell you some of my earliest memories with the overheating were we used to have power cuts, right?
Oh, let's explain power cuts.
Okay, go ahead. Tell people what a power cut is.
Well, a power cut is in the name. They cut off the power.
Says the man who said, "Let's explain it."
Well, it's like a planned outage that happens for a while. I remember when we were like a bit younger, it was happening like every day for like 2 hours.
Right. I think there are planned and unplanned ones. I think there were certain cities that were really good about sticking to the planned things. But then I think when we were young, there were definitely times when they would just decide like it's off for a moment.
That's insane, right? Think about it. Like living now in New Zealand, I'm like, it's insane to think of that like for 2 hours a day, there's just no power in the whole fucking city.
And if you were lucky, your building or your house would have something called an inverter, which would be just a little battery essentially that stored up a bit of electricity. So all it could do, if you're lucky, is run like a couple fans and a light, and that too for a few hours. So my memories of the heat was I remember having like a fear of these power cuts because when it happened, I knew I wasn't getting no sleep because I would just be walking around like in a daze, overheating and waiting for the AC to turn back on. Oh man, what a nightmare!
But it's not just that though. It's like Indian dads with ACs is like a different. They'll be like, don't put on the AC for too long. The power bill will go up. And then
don't leave the door open with the AC on it.
Oh yeah, and then they'll strategically put it on for like an hour, put it off, let the room cool down.
That's true. Yeah, it was a big transition when I think a lot of us started off with like one AC and then two and then three. Like at some point you had the whole house.
It was like a TV, right? Like when we first got like these big TVs, you'd put one in the living room.
Right.
And then you'd get more TVs and each room would get a TV. I think it's similar with the ACs.
That's how it was. But it became like a necessity of life, because at some point I can't even imagine. Every time I go back to India now, I heat up so much. I can't even imagine living there without, like we were when we were kids, just roaming around the house with no AC on, just the windows open, fans on. It's just not possible. Like I don't feel like that I could do that over there.
I think it's possible in Chennai in like the monsoon, maybe when
it's like raining. Yeah, but the rain too is this kind of muggy rain, so the air feels kind of like soup when you're walking through that.
Soup.
It's like hot. It's like hot rain. It's not like
purple rain. But so that's what I'm trying to understand, right? Because I don't live in Europe.
Right.
I'm trying to understand why they're suffering so much. I don't get it. Like, is it actually that bad with 31 degrees of heat?
It's not just the 31 degrees. What I'm seeing is that people are suffering. So it's the way things are designed, I think. The buildings, everything is sort of designed to keep heat in because they were used to winters over the centuries or whatever. So it's all like really thick materials and like glass and stuff, which keeps the place super insulated. Actually, even my place right now over here is kind of similar. It's very well insulated so that if it gets cold, even a little bit of heat inside the house stays in. But conversely, in the summer, if you leave your window open and the sunlight comes in, once it's in, it's trapped in there. It's like a glass house.
All right. Let me ask you this. Do you prefer being extremely cold or extremely hot?
Oh, well, I am extremely hot. But I prefer to be extremely cold to my enemies.
Whoa, okay. Took that in a different direction.
No, but cold all the way, man. I am literally that thing that I mentioned, the childhood fear or whatever. It's never left. So I just cannot go to sleep if the temperature is not 18 degrees Celsius.
But I think that's a dumb decision.
Why?
Because Because you can die of extreme cold. You can't die of extreme heat.
What do you mean? What are they doing in Europe right now?
No, but like, you can't actually die. Like
They
if
are
you're
dying. It's called heat stroke. It's a thing.
yeah, but you can get out of the heat. You can go under a
You
tree
can
or something.
Get out of the cold, too.
No. Okay, let's say you're in a barren place, no buildings, right? But there
Okay.
are trees.
Right.
If you go sit under a tree, you'll feel okay if it's hot outside. But in the cold, what are you
If it's
supposed
cold,
to do?
you cut down the tree and fucking rub two sticks together until it creates a fire. Then you sit there. Dude. I want someone to make one of our fan. Okay. Someone make a counter of the dumb things Arnav has said through this podcast. and on that note,
Daily Rants with Curiology. Have you ever noticed that there's no actual horror movies in apartments? All the hauntings are in some old, dingy ass houses. So my question is, yo, apartment complex ghosts, where you at? Maybe even ghosts and demons don't have time for plebeians like me who can't afford their own house.
another insightful curiosity. That one sounded like you have a apartment complex.
I have a complex about being in an apartment complex in a complex.
That's what I just said. Okay.
Let's dig into that a little bit.
Okay.
Have you ever seen a movie where
I have seen some movies. I have a section on it in this podcast.
Oh yeah. Netflix.
You can't preempt that. It'll come when it comes. All right.
Oh shit. It strikes when it's hot.
That's right. So you're saying that you haven't seen a movie with ghosts in an apartment complex. It's an interesting concept. What was that movie? Wasn't it The Shining or something? Wasn't that in an apartment building?
That was in a hotel.
Okay. Same difference.
No, what do you mean? A hotel is just a big house.
A hotel is just a big apartment building. What are you talking about?
No, a hotel is a big house. It's not a big apartment building.
I will not die on this hill. So carry on with your insane
I mean,
point.
think about it, right? Like, I have never seen any good movie. Maybe there's some niche ones, but like nothing good has like ghosts haunting different neighbors in an apartment complex. Like, you can't go over to your neighbor and be like, yo, did your plates fall off the shelves as well? It's not a shared experience.
Yeah, well, I guess so. I don't know what you want me to say. This is the most mediocre take. But you know what? I'll give you that, and I'll raise you one. We've done our series on space, and it's ongoing. We're making a space movie. I think the next thing we've got to take on is a horror movie where we break down the apartment horror situation set in India, and we see where we can go. I think that's a nice premise.
That's good. Well, the horror part of the apartment in India is the apartment itself. Have you seen some of those?
Yeah, and we can make it zombies or something. So
Oh shit!
Imagine that'd be a crazy movie. You have to fight your way out of like a Indian apartment zombie complex.
Oh man, that's okay. That's watch the space for the next Indian zombie movie.
That's right. On that note about movies, Netflix. I went to the theater over the last week, and I went for the new Supergirl movie.
Okay.
Right. What do you know about DC, Arnav, and what's going on in DC?
I know it's the end of Washington.
Well, okay then. Let me enlighten you. It's having a revamp, right? From the last year, they have new management, and so that means all the characters, the Supermans, the Batmans of the world, they're all getting remade. So Superman came out last year. Pretty good film, I'd say. It was not the big thing that everyone expected, but it was, I think, good enough that most people were satisfied. Supergirl is the second one in the official releases, and I thought it was okay. I would say they did an okay job with the character, and the villain was a little bit lackluster, but The one thing about it is that it's getting a lot of hate online.
Why?
Because every time they make a movie with a female superhero these days, I don't know. Nobody seems to want to get behind it.
I do actually like the actress. I saw her in House of Dragon. I thought she was really good.
She's cool. I mean, look, there are some cringy things in the movie. Like she is fighting against these group of bandits and they're all men. And they have a race that specifically are men that they basically treat women like basically like objects and they only use them to create more men for their male.
Oh, so it's like an agenda battle.
I mean, people look at it that way, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's a movie in space where this alien is running around punching dudes. I don't think it matters. But yeah, so the other sad thing is she's getting completely overshadowed by Jason Momoa, who makes an appearance in this as the kind of cigar smoking, motorbike riding half god entity called Lobo. Yeah. It's like a character that was made exactly for him. So he's having a great time driving around on his motorbike and punching aliens.
Oh shit. Okay. Let me ask you this. I've never understood why they keep remaking the same movies again and again. Like why is there so many different versions of like Spider-Man, Superman?
Yeah. No, but this isn't a remake, right? This is like the first time they made a Supergirl movie. Or not the first time, but whatever. The last one was unspeakable. It was a sin upon humanity.
Super sin.
But why? What do you mean?
Like, why are there so many different versions of one story?
Well, I think there's only a certain amount of creativity that human beings have in general, right? I think there's only one type, or there's only a couple of types of stories overall. The idea of being this person who has powers and then chooses to use it for good is seemingly some story that's been there in history. So we like that story. We keep using it. I'll tell you, the Indians overuse that story a lot. That's every Indian superhero movies. I don't know if I've talked about this. Indian movies are like the same as Marvel and DC movies. They have the same special effects. It's just people haven't caught on to it in the Western world yet. But they're way crazier than any. Like I saw this action sequence in Supergirl, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And then I watched some random Tamil movie right after that. I'm like, "Oh my god, they're doing the same stuff or more."
But the problem is the Western movies established that they're superheroes. The Indian movies is just some random cop on the streets.
Yeah, we love we have our own police version of the Avengers, where there are cops from different districts of India. And then there's like this major crime. I'm talking about the Singham series for anyone who cares. And then there's this one movie where there's some international crime ring, and so that brings all the cops together from all over India. I'm like, dude, this does not happen in the actual police system.
At some point, we need a Western and like a Hollywood Bollywood crossover. I think that's on its way.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean they've tried a few times. There's been. What's our guy? Our guy Dhanush was in an action movie with the Ryan Gosling, I think, called The Gray Man.
Called Gray Man.
Yeah, called Gray Man. It's actually directed by the guys who made the Avengers movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, it was a Netflix movie. I don't think it was that great, but the action was there. And Dhanush was this assassin kind of guy. It was pretty cool.
Well, we saw Snoop Dogg in one of the Hindi movies, didn't we? Do you remember Sing is King?
Was he in it? Damn.
He was in the song. He was in the.
Was he Snoop Dogg or Snoop Lion at the time?
Oh shit! He's Snoop Kutta.
I tell you, the Snoop guy just keeps showing up at the place. This guy's been side questing hard.
Yeah, Snoop is like what I Show Speed is, but he did it before Speed did.
Wow. And Speed's a dog too, as in like he barks.
Oh
my god! I think you've created some kind of a synergy.
We've unlocked the biggest conspiracy.
I won't take credit for this because it's the stupidest thing I ever heard. So
you said it.
Someone add this to the list. You brought it up. I wouldn't even be thinking about Snoop and I Show Speed.
Well, bringing it back to I Show Speed in the World Cup. Let's go full circle.
All right.
This guy is probably the most famous person at the World Cup right now. He's going around and meeting people like the original Ronaldo, R9, Kaka, Roberto Carlos, Zlatan.
And disrespecting all of them.
Well, they're going up to him and asking him for photos.
Oh man, come on.
How insane is this?
It's not that crazy right now. But I think it's this, right? He's a young guy and he's got a lot of energy and he's got a lot of, but the thing is he doesn't actually care about football. He's just kind of there.
I think he actually does now.
Not at all.
He's built his whole career based off that one message on like whatever Twitter or whatever.
I'd say he's the one guy who's eating the most out of FIFA, but doesn't have any actual ball knowledge. And I say this as someone who only surfaces once every 4 years.
You're the Indian I show speed.
I'm not. I hate barking. I'll tell you that. I don't bark for nobody.
The next intro is just going to be barks.
We already tried the clicking one episode.
Yeah, we'll go from to.
Okay. Let's end it right
On that
there.
note, let's end it before
Arnav takes us into any more embarrassing directions.
Okay,
Tell
been
the audience where to find us.
I was going to before you told me to tell them.
Go ahead then. Bark for them.
All right, that's been another episode of Barely Brown. We spoke about FIFA, we spoke about iShowSpeed, we spoke about the Heat. And come back next week for more Barely Brown Heat. You can find us on Spotify at Barely Brown and on Instagram and TikTok at Barely Brown Pod.
Oi, happy Pakro.
I know.